Today, we'll be doing an oil change on this 2010 EZGO TXT golf cart. We'll be using the Factory Racing Parts Oil Change Kit. Our kit will come with 2 quarts of our fully synthetic 10W40 oil, a new Factory Racing Parts oil filter, and a new O-ring for your drain plug. The tools that we'll need for this job are a drain pan, some rags or paper towels, a 19mm socket or wrench, an oil filter socket, and if you don't have an oil filter socket, you can use pliers, although I do recommend a socket so you can use the method that I show in this video. Now, because this golf cart is so low to the ground, it is difficult to get a drain pan underneath, so I'm going to use a small jack just to give me a few inches of lift. If you don't have a jack, you can use a piece of wood just to drive over, just to give you some clearance for the drain pan. Now we're ready to remove our drain plug. There's a cutout in beneath the engine skid plate that allows access for this. Now my first word of caution is that this drain plug is made out of plastic. So whether you're using a wrench or a socket, you just want to make sure that it's firmly planted on the head of the bolt before you start removing it. You don't want to put any side load pressure on there as it may break it. The same rules apply when you're installing the drain plug. Again, you just want to make sure that whatever tool you're using is firmly planted on the head of the bolt and that you use even pressure. You don't want to use a lot of torque when installing these, just enough so that the bolt is snug. Next, you want to replace the O-ring, making sure that the new O-ring gets pressed all the way down to the head of the bolt. And then you want to take some rags or paper towels and clean the surrounding area for the drain bolt and make sure that the mating surface for that O-ring gets nice and clean. You don't want anything contaminating that O-ring surface, otherwise it can cause a leak. Now once we get that drain bolt threaded in there as far as we can by hand, you're going to grab your wrench or socket and just as we previously discussed, you want to make sure you use nice even pressure and just get that snug. You don't want to use too much pressure and break that bolt. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get the oil filter out now. We're actually going to get this from the top. The way we're going to do this is by removing the air filter. Just 2 little clips, top and bottom. Then we're going to pull out the air filter. And then the oil filter. Is right down there. So we're going to grab our oil filter socket with just a small extension. Get that situated on the filter. You get your ratchet. Let it drain for a minute. Now that we got our oil filter tight, we can go ahead and put our air filter back in. Now we're ready to add our oil. I recommend using a funnel to make this easier, even though I just nearly made a mess there. This engine will take approximately 1.4 quarts of oil. Then we can go ahead and get a quick baseline reading for our oil level. We're looking for it to be above the H line at this point. We expect that oil filter to soak up some of that oil when we go for our test drive. So after our test drive, I gave the engine a few minutes for the oil level to settle, and now we're ready to get our final oil reading check. We're going to fully insert the dipstick, and then when we pull it out, we're looking for the oil level to be at the top of the hash marks, right at that H mark. It can be difficult to see, but our oil level is right where we need it to be. So there you have it, an oil change on a 2010 EZGO TXT model golf cart using the factory racing parts oil change kit. These instructions will apply to the 400cc 13.5 horsepower Kawasaki engine from 2008 to 2019. Thanks for watching.